The Warriors made a massive mistake drafting James Wiseman with the number 3 overall pick in 2020. Obviously, that's easy to say in hindsight, but come on. The team passed on so many quality players like LaMelo Ball, Tyrese Halliburton, Desmond Bane, and Emmanuel Quickley, just to name a few. Obviously, the team wouldn't have picked most of those guys with the 3rd overall pick, but that's besides the point. The point is, the Warriors front office took a rare loss in the draft, and the worst part is, they could have fixed it. For nearly 2 years, James Wiseman was in massive trade rumors for NBA stars like Bradley Beal and more, and the Warriors could have easily packaged him along with some other assets to get a star to help them win now, but as you all know, they didn't, which was their big mistake. The longer the team held on to Wiseman, the more and more NBA teams realized this dude was not worth trading their star for. Eventually, the Warriors dumped their big man for Gary Payton in a 3-team deal, and it's safe to say that return is nothing near what the team could have got just a year prior. But when Wiseman was actually traded, everyone said that this was the best thing for his career and he should bounce back in Detroit. And this is true, but obviously it left the Warriors with a problem. They didn't have a big man. Sure, the team had guys like Kevon Looney who are fantastic in their roles, don't get me wrong there, but something about the idea of a legitimate big man who got meaningful minutes seems like it would put the Warriors over the top and make them championship favorites. Lucky for the Warriors, it looks like they might have just found their next young star, and he happens to be a big man that has the potential to fit perfectly in their system and help the team win now. But there's also a big problem that the team will have to work around as well. Meet Kai Sotto, the 7'3", 230-pound big man that has the potential to be something very special. Sotto was first put on the map when he joined the G League Ignite back in 2020 with teammates such as Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga. At the time, there was actually some pretty legitimate buzz about Sotto, being that he was going off in the scrimmages for this team. But Sotto actually never ended up playing a single game in the G League Ignite, because he wasn't allowed to re-enter the US after he left briefly to play for his team in the Philippines in 2020. Despite the immense potential that Sotto showed in his international play and during his scrimmages, no one took a chance on this man in the 2021 NBA draft. This was mostly due to a lack of playing time in the G League, but honestly, the fact that no one took a chance on this man just because of his build alone is honestly pretty shocking. I mean, this is a guy who is a legitimate rim protector, averaging 2 blocks per 36 minutes in the Australian National League. Sure, he's weak on the pick and roll defense and has some other things with his game that aren't perfect, but these are all things that can be taught in the NBA by elite development teams. And let's be honest, pretty much any prospect that enters the NBA at 7'3" is pretty raw when it comes to their skills. But because no team took a chance on Sotto and his unique build, he took his talents overseas and played for Japanese and Australian leagues the past 2 years. And here is where he earned the reputation as a very solid player, so much so that it turned heads of NBA executives. Sotto got invited to play for the Orlando Magic in the NBA Summer League, and although this team was actually accused of making this move for clout because Sotto is one of the most popular players in the Philippines, he actually had a pretty solid Summer League debut. Sure, he will definitely have to adjust to the faster pace of the NBA, but Sotto showed that he can protect the rim and play in the dunker spot at the NBA level, which is honestly perfect for a lot of teams. It's safe to say that Sotto is the type of player that the Warriors would be inclined to take a flyer on. But there's one big problem. They haven't signed him to a deal yet. Yes, there have been some rumors flying around about the team giving Sotto a vet minimum contract and roster spots, but so far nothing has come from this chatter. But Steve Kerr and Mike Dunleavy, if you guys are watching this video, this is exactly why you should take a chance on Kai Sotto. The tallest player on the Warriors roster right now is Dario Saric. And I know, this team has done more than well with a small ball lineup in the past, but having someone that has the size to match up with guys like Nikola Jokic or Anthony Davis in the postseason will honestly be pretty crucial for this team. Obviously, Sotto doesn't have the size compared to these guys because he's pretty lanky, but as we've seen in the past few weeks, Sotto can provide some solid rim protection as well, which is something that the Warriors have very little of right now. Obviously, no player on a vet minimum deal is the perfect fit for a team, but at this point, if the Warriors want to sign a center, it's either getting someone like Dwight Howard, who has his own allegations going on right now, or taking a chance on a 7'3" big man that could potentially be a perennial talent. I don't know about you, but the choice seems pretty obvious to me. And no, I'm not just gassing up Sotto because he's another Bol Bol or Victor Wembanyama type type player, although that does help because the Warriors do need size. But his playstyle and skills actually fit really well with the current Warriors roster and what they need from a center. Sotto would fit perfectly with the Warriors' motion offense, which definitely values bigs who can pass and make plays off of dribble handoffs. Although we haven't seen Sotto in a ton of NBA level competition, it seems like he has the IQ and skills to make the passes the Warriors would be looking for. With the addition of Chris Paul, adding someone like Sotto would basically give this team unlimited plays to run. They have shot creating and playmaking guards, some of the best shooters in the league, explosive two-way wings, and a 7-footer. That sounds like a recipe for some crazy plays to me, but maybe the most important skill that Sotto has in his bag is his footwork. During the summer league, we saw that Sotto was light and quick on his feet while also having a plethora of elite post moves to get himself shots down low. Sotto even has the potential to become someone that can stretch the floor for the Warriors team that heavily utilizes perimeter scoring. Last year in Japan, Sotto shot nearly 40% from 3. Now keep in mind that he was taking less than 1 3-ball per game, but what this does show is that Kai can knock down threes if he's wide open, which honestly for the Warriors is all they need to work with to make him an elite shooter. This guy is basically the dream prospect for any NBA team, and he's just sitting here waiting to get his chance. And former teammates such as Jonathan Kuminga and Jalen Green have come out and said that they are shocked he hasn't gotten a roster spot in the NBA yet. And that's for good reason. He's got all the skills and potential in the world, so why hasn't an NBA team taken a chance on him? Well, this honestly comes down to one thing, and it could ultimately be what causes his career to die before it even starts. That being injuries. We've seen just how easy it is for people the size of Sotto to get injured. We had Chet Holmgren go out for an entire season last year, and Bol Bol has suffered his fair share of injuries as well. But Soto's injuries have honestly been the main reason why he hasn't gotten a chance at the NBA level just yet. What's sad is that this man's injuries haven't even been that severe. The timing has just been really bad. Back in 2022, Sotto suffered a severe ankle injury during one of his pre-draft workouts, which caused him to miss his workouts for other teams entirely and ultimately decrease his chances of getting drafted significantly. Kai was supposed to work out for 12 NBA teams in 2022 going into the draft, but he only got to participate in 8 of these workouts before getting injured. The teams he wasn't able to meet with were the Rockets, Spurs, Mavericks, and Suns. Honestly, the harsh truth is, I think that if he would have had a good workout for the Rockets or the Spurs, they would have taken a chance on him and drafted him. But the injury bug just got the best of him. We saw this more recently as well, just a few weeks ago. Kai went down with a back injury during the Summer League game with the Magic, and although it turned out to be a minor injury, it's likely the reason that a ton of teams were scared away from signing him. But guess what? None of that matters because the Warriors can still sign Sotto and develop him into a big man they need for their current core and maybe even a star player down the road. But speaking of stars, after signing the largest contract extension in NBA history, Jaylen Brown basically guaranteed that the Celtics will trade him or Jason Tatum at some point in the near future, unless they do one thing. Click here to watch that video and see why the Celtics' new contract with Jaylen Brown is a big problem.